Chosen at random. Needle's eye, castle high, aiming to go through. Many a bow did I let go because I wanted you. Jesse Stewart used a line from a variation of this song for the title of his early adventures in school teaching, The Thread That Runs So True. Instead of The Thread That Runs So True, we sang Aiming to Go Through. After my first 5 weeks at Land's school, where miraculously everyone survived, including me, I went to Louisville to make my fortune in war work. While my clearance was coming through, I worked a few weeks at Beston and Langen, a clothing store on 4th Street. I managed to do just about everything wrong once. I salved my injured pride by reflecting that I never made the same mistake twice. But I must have driven the New York native floor lady to distraction at the number of new mistakes I could blunder into. Just when I was about to get the hang of selling ladies' sportswear, my FBI clearance came through, proving that I was indeed a loyal citizen of the United States. I was hired by Goodyear in Charleston, Indiana, to weigh, low, and sew charges of powder for the big guns to be used at the war front. While I was there, the Allies invaded France on D-Day. I had not gone to college a day. The superintendent of Butler County Schools sent word to me that I could have a school if I wanted one. A broken engagement, the expense of living in Louisville, the coarsening influences of rooming house and factory work combined to help me decide to come home to teach. Besides, I already had chalk in my veins. Wilson School was an old school, having been built of logs in the early days and later weatherboarded and sealed. Sitting in a little meadow in the bend of the dirt road, it had 3 windows on either side of the house. Inside, the blackboard covered the end wall. In front of the teacher's desk and facing the desk was the long recitation bench. Rows of hooks for hanging coats were on the wall to the right of the door. On the left were the shelves for the water bucket, each person's drinking cup, and the dinner buckets. In the center of the oiled floor was the rusty, pot-bellied iron stove. The inside of the room was painted a soft cream color, much more pleasant than the schoolroom buff that most schools were painted at that time. The windows were clean, with freshly washed, starched, and ironed white muslin curtains, made and done up by one of the mothers. This loving touch made the schoolroom a cozy place in which to be cloistered for 7 months. That year, our school had a 97% attendance record, the highest in the county. Some of my teacher friends suggested that we were so far out in the county that even a germ couldn't find its way there, but they were just jealous. This school was 23 miles from my home, and I had never been in that area before. I had 13 students scattered among 8 grades, but we only taught the 5th and 7th grades on the years we didn't teach the 6th and 8th grades. The administration realized that nobody could teach every subject in all 8 grades every day and get home in time for supper. At recess, we played the games they always played. I had never heard the song they sang, but I played the game many times. It was London Bridge. While we sang the song, everybody trudged under the 2 captains' upraised hands, and when they sang, "Many a bow did I let go because I wanted you," they grabbed the person going through at the time. They took him aside and asked him a question such as, "What would you rather be, a gold bed or a gold couch?" He made his choice and got behind the captain he had chosen. After everybody had a chance to choose, the game ended in tug-of-war. Sometimes we played ball, a shorthanded game, as we only had 13 players, 14 if they counted me, which they couldn't, as I never got the hang of batting with a narrow plank and running bases with my teacher clothes on. We played hide and seek, Red Rover, Crack the Whip, Prisoner's Base, and tag. Sometimes the girls made a playhouse while the boys chased each other like any other little animals let loose from enforced stillness. I remember that those children, aged 6 to 13, played happily together, watched out for each other, and did not expect me to figure out something for them to do, during those 2 15-minute recesses and the hour lunch break. None of us had ever seen a television set. We had no electricity in the school for a radio, and if we had any music, we had to sing it ourselves. During the winter, we kept a jigsaw puzzle in progress on a little table by a window. And sometimes we made sculptures out of a sand-free vein of clay dug out of a ditch beside the road. Because I wanted you. Sometimes I feel that I was chosen to be a teacher in that random a manner. After those 2 attempts in the spring of 1944 to work in a department store and a war factory, I have never been tempted to leave teaching for any other work. I chose the Gold Schoolroom, and I have never been sorry about that decision.